That is incorrect. That is fiction number one. Mea Culpa, Tyler Perry, Mea Culpa, not Mia. Okay, we are about to discuss Mea Culpa. My first impressions as an attorney, I was flattered that Tyler Perry chose my legal profession as a topic of one of his next big movies. However, there were some issues, okay? So all I'm going to say is that I don't believe Tyler Perry should actually continue to make legal dramas. Like, stay away from our industry. I don't need people thinking that what you show in your movie is what really happens in a court of law or just to attorneys in general, okay? There's already so many misconceptions. What we're gonna do is we're gonna go down the list of 10 different issues that happened in Mea Culpa, and we're gonna discuss whether they were fact or fiction. Fact being that they would likely happen in the legal world to an attorney, and fiction being that they would likely not happen, could not happen, very unlikely to happen in the legal world or to an attorney. All right, so number one, you guessed it, it is the title, Mea Culpa. Let's just talk about what that means. Mea culpa is a Latin phrase that means through my fault, or simply my fault, okay? It is associated with legal proceedings, and it possibly could be used in law, but like decades ago, okay? Not modern law at all right? I'm calling this fiction. The reason I'm calling this fiction is because Tyler Perry revolved this whole movie around the title Mea Culpa, but yet decided to name and pronounce the title Mea Culpa and have the leading character's name be reflected in the title, but yet still pronounce it Mia. That is incorrect. That is fiction number one. Mea Culpa, Tyler Perry, Mea Culpa, not Mia. So, I also call this fiction because as a prosecutor, which I had been for about a year and a half or so of my legal career, we never used that term. I had seen many trials, I had been to many arraignments, pleadings, yet that phrase was never used. So it is something that was used in Old English and that can be eloquently used in what I understand is to be like religious services, talking about having the fault be on someone, not currently in the legal world as it is now, okay? So that's another reason why this is a fiction. Nobody uses that phrase, okay? And especially they don't use it Mea Culpa. Again, Mea Culpa. I'm gonna leave it alone. Mea Culpa. Number two, Mia, again, I'm talking about the leading character, Kelly Rowland. Mia is a defense attorney, and she's considering representing Zaire Malloy, who is a famous artist and who has been charged with the murder of his girlfriend. Now, the reason why I make this another legal issue is because we don't have enough information about Kelly's background as an attorney to know whether it is likely that she could consider representing such a high-profile figure, such a high-profile case. I mean, seriously, when their celebrities are famous artists, like the one we have here, Zaire, they are going to be hiring a big-name law firm, one that is specializing in high-profile cases, one that represents the stars, okay? Is Mia a celebrity attorney? We don't know. So this is my first neither fact or fiction. We just don't know. And that would have been good information because I feel like showing what it looks like to get a case like that as an attorney would have been proper information for our viewers. Okay, what kind of attorney actually would receive a case like that? Is it just your old run-of-the-mill entertainment lawyer? Probably not, because he's on trial for murder and the death penalty is on the table. Okay, so we just needed a little more information there. Number 3, Mea's brother-in-law is a prosecutor, okay? And when she does decide to represent Zaire, her brother-in-law, Ray, is actually the prosecutor bringing the case against Zaire. So that creates a huge conflict because there's a scene that shows the judge sitting in front of Mea and Ray discussing whether or not they can still proceed with the trial where the defense attorney and the state's attorney are family members. They are brother and sister-in-law. This would never happen. This is a fiction, okay? And I say that because based on lawyers' code of professional responsibility, this type of conflict would never be allowed by the judge. Well, let me not say never. There are certain exceptions. But in a court of law where there is a criminal case and you have the state being represented by one attorney and the defense being represented by another who are family members, that high risk of there being any impropriety to be assumed, any improper conduct between the two attorneys or improper conduct as far as helping out another side in a way that they normally wouldn't, creates a huge conflict that a state government could never allow. Now, let's assume that this was a civil case and both parties were represented by an attorney, not the state involved at all. Then if all the parties agreed, then the judge might allow the conflict. But here we have the state as one of the parties. The state can't technically agree to this conflict, okay? It's the state, it's the public, it's the people that the brother-in-law is representing. So they cannot create such a look of impropriety on this case. So again, that is a fiction. Okay, I'm back. All right, I decided to switch up my background a little bit so I didn't have to keep like looking to the side or looking like way down low so that I could read off my notes. So I hope y'all don't mind. Number 4, Jimmy the investigator. This is a friend of Mea, the defense attorney. He is her personal investigator and friend. He participates in a little bit of a cross-exam / interview of Zaire to basically discuss some of the things that the state has brought up about his history and what other witnesses are going to say about him in court. And they are very salacious, let me tell you. Really, this is like the most like vulgar sexual discussion of the whole movie, but it gets into the nitty-gritty of some of Zaire's sexual activities with his past girlfriends. And honestly, this is normal. I'm going to categorize this as fact. Okay, and this is normal because most defense attorneys will have some private investigator that they hire to help them. They will usually have a team of people that helps them pick apart their cases, do investigating. They might actually go interview people for them when they're not available. So this is very normal. This is the kind of witness prep you might see being done before trial, okay? So good job there. Fact. Number 5, because Mea keeps blowing off Zaire in the beginning of their, I guess, professional relationship as far as his attempts to be friendly or intimate. We're really not sure in the beginning, but eventually we realize it's intimacy he's looking for here. She keeps blowing him off. So Zaire, like, he's had it. He's done. He's like, okay, since you keep being dishonest about your attraction to me, I can't have you as my attorney if you can't be honest with yourself and with me about how you feel about me. What? This is fiction. Okay? Let's remember, Zaire is on trial for murder. The death penalty is on the table. There are, maybe a week or two, maybe a couple of weeks before the actual hearing. There is no way in hell that a defendant is going to look for another attorney last minute in such a high stakes case, okay? Complete fiction. And come on, just because she doesn't want to, I don't know, get in bed with him? That's what this sounds like. Because she is not willing to lay down with him, he is not willing to have her as his attorney. Makes no sense. I mean, literally after that, had this happened in the real world, Mea as the attorney should have walked away then, but that didn't happen. So again, this is fiction. Okay, number 6. Mea does finally take him as a client and admits that she does have feelings for him. And, so many things happened beforehand, but eventually they end up sleeping together. Okay, this is a very weird scene with paint, and they're in the studio and they wake up with all these colors all over their body. Very intense. Something I've never seen before, but also a little cringy. Not gonna lie. You'll just have to see it to believe me. She eventually withdraws from the case. Now, she's not withdrawing from the case because she slept with him, okay? Which is the real reason she needs to withdraw from the case. She withdraws from the case because she learns that he has basically used his celebrity artist game that he runs on every chick that he sleeps with on her, okay? She fell victim to the same game that everybody else fell for, and she learns this from one of his first female friends and women that he was in a relationship with. So basically that's like the last straw. She finds out that, every girl that he has slept with, he took them through the same activities of having them paint what they're seeing and then sleeping with them and then having their picture on the ceiling when they wake up. Really artistic and sweet, like it was only, done for them. But that's not true. Obviously, he did this with all the women. So she's horribly upset with him about this, decides that she's going to withdraw from the case and focus on her marriage, okay? This is fact. Got it right here. Because, even though it was very close to this trial, commencing, you would put your client in jeopardy of having the whole case thrown out, possibly having your license taken away from you as an attorney if you were to move forward with this case with such a huge conflict. And your client could potentially bring a malpractice action against you if he were to lose this case, and it is all while you having represented him during this huge conflict, okay? So this really does not work to your advantage to go through with this type of case while you have an intimate relationship with your client, okay? And it came about during the time of you representing them. So Tyler Perry got that one right. Number 7. Before Mea can come clean to her husband, Cal, she is confronted by his family and him about her relationship with Zaire. Yes, she has found out like that. I mean, it was quick as I don't know what, like literally no time went by, and the brother-in-law, Ray, had ended up with some information from the judge in the case as to why she withdrew. He learned that she had to withdraw from the case because of an inappropriate relationship with her client. Okay, so would this actually happen in the real world of law? Okay, would a judge give the private details of the relationship that happened between a defense attorney and their client to the prosecutor's office or to one specific prosecutor? Yeah, this is fact, okay? And let me tell you why. Y'all, the legal community is small. I don't care what state you're working in, what city, whether it's a large city or a small one. The world of legal practitioners is a small one, and everybody knows everybody. And if you are working in the prosecutor's office and you work with judges on a regular basis, everybody really knows everybody, okay? And everybody knows everybody's business. So it is very likely that a judge pulled the prosecutor to the side and told him what was really going on with Miss Mea and Mr. Zaire, okay? And he probably told him in confidence and was like, hey, you can't tell anybody this. I can't really be letting you know all this information, but this is what happened. That happens every day. I'm just going to be honest. Like, it's happened with me before. I've literally went into judges' chambers after a case has happened, and he'll give me a little more information about what just went down that maybe he wasn't supposed to know, or that he probably wasn't supposed to tell me. But there's an understanding that what we have said is going to be said in confidence, okay? It's just a thing, it's the industry. So yeah, fact. Tyler Perry got it right there. Number 8. Turns out Ray, Mea's brother-in-law, had actually planned out this whole scheme to set up Zaire in this murder charge, all because his wife had slept with Zaire as well. So yeah, Mea's only friend in the whole family has also slept with this individual that she slept with too. Okay, and how this is determined is also kind of shady. We don't really get all the facts, but we do see that there is a picture of the brother-in-law's wife that looks just like the way that Zaire paints all the other pictures of the women that he has slept with and hangs above his bed. So, would this be a fact or a fiction that a prosecutor would go to all these lengths to set up one individual as revenge for sleeping with his wife? No, this is a fiction. Y'all, do you know how deep and entwined the legal community is? Law enforcement, lab techs, investigators. There are all these levels that a case has to go through before charges are brought, before arraignment. It's not all up to just one prosecutor to drum up all the evidence, put it in a file and say, send it out the door, charge this individual. He's likely guilty. That's not how it works. And this movie really made it look like Ray planned and set this all up himself with one quick, snap of the finger. No, this is not likely at all. A real prosecutor would likely not put their job at risk, their license to practice law in the future ever at risk by basically breaking their oath to remain a truthful officer of the court, okay? You do take an oath to be a prosecutor, and he would be violating that oath by participating in this scheme to falsify information against a defendant. He could also have charges brought against him for malicious prosecution. So there's a lot of reasons why this would make literally no sense, okay? So that is a fiction. Okay, so I failed to mention that earlier in the movie, Ray, the brother-in-law, does let the family know, along with Mea, that he plans to run for mayor, and that this case against Zaire will be pretty much his poster boy to support his campaign as being tough on crime, right? And so if this alternative theory of him drumming all this evidence up was to support his future run for mayor, I still think it would be a fiction that would be likely to occur. No prosecutor that has made it so far in their career that they now can run for mayor would consider falsifying evidence, putting their bar license at risk and their whole career and their ability to stay out of jail because charges could be brought against them to just run for a campaign, right? So again, this is still a fiction, even if he was using this whole case as support for a mayoral campaign. All right, number 9. It's later found out that Ray and Kyle's mother, who has been suffering from cancer the whole time during the movie, and I believe like a couple years prior, actually does not have cancer. We find out later that the cancer diagnosis was made up to get sympathy, basically as a way to have the public sympathize with Ray when he did run for mayor. So this is like a long game these people are playing, right? I mean, to have come up with the idea that the mother's going to have cancer, a time before he even decides to run for mayor, but also later on decides, hey, we're going to also drum up all this evidence against this one person that I have revenge against so that I have a really strong case for the fact that I'm the one you should vote for because I'm tough on crime. Y'all, this is a web of lies that would never really occur in the real legal world. Like, I have to call this out as a fiction, okay? So, no, I do not believe that it would be likely that a prosecutor's mother would have faked cancer and that information would be public knowledge that she has cancer and that the family would hope that nobody found out. Y'all, in this modern day and age, with literally an app for everything, background checks available to anybody that wanted them, private investigators, the background checks that the government does already when somebody is running to take state office. I mean, people run through your, history with a fine-tooth comb, especially when you're running for office, because people like to put things in the press that's salacious about these candidates. And the worse information that they can get, the better, right? There's no way that you would keep that a secret. And there's no way that a prosecutor would, in their right mind, think that creating all these lies would get them ahead versus likely just get them fired and their license taken away and them never be able to be an attorney again, right? So again, that is a fiction. Yeah, so fiction is really winning out right now, okay? Lastly, number 10. Once Mea finds that the alleged girlfriend of Zaire is actually well and alive, Zaire is released from jail. Is this a fact or fiction? Well, I propose that it could be both, okay? It is a fact that if new evidence was brought in a case or after defendant pled guilty that showed that he was no longer guilty at all, then he is likely to have the charges dropped or be released from prison. Not likely jail, okay? So while that is true, the fiction lies in the fact that that's a process. Okay, there is a legal process for everything. And once you are locked up and they throw away the key, all this new evidence is not a get out of jail free card. We don't just hear it on the press and then they open up the gates and say, hey, you're good to go. That is in fantasy world. That is in children's stories. I mean, this is akin to a child's story, the way they play this out at the end. The more adult and legal way that this would occur would be for the defendant, here Zaire, to request an appeal. That is a long, drawn out process. And even if you do get the appeal, it takes time for them to actually set the hearing date. That might be months and months into the future. And once they do get the hearing date, it's not that you just automatically get set free. You actually have a hearing. There will be witnesses. There will be a discussion. And then the judges finally make a determination as to whether or not the defendant's request for the charges to be dropped, to be released, to be acquitted, whatever it is, then the judge would make that determination. However, here, everything just happens as quick as, snap of your finger, and that is not how it works in the real legal world, okay? So, that was our last legal issue that I wanted to discuss. If y'all watched this movie already, which I'm hoping you did because I gave a lot of spoilers. Sorry about that. If you hadn't, I will make sure that I put a spoiler alert on this thumbnail somewhere. Tell me what you thought. Comment down below. Did you think that this movie depicted a realistic version of what happens to an attorney, what happens to a defendant when a court case like this were to come up? Let me know if you enjoyed my analysis of fact or fiction, and if you'd like to hear more videos about legal dramas or legal shows, and whether or not what we're seeing is actually what would happen in the real world, okay? This was fun for me. Literally, this is what I do in my head while I'm watching shows that are centered around court cases or attorneys. And so this, again, is just fun. So if you did watch to the end, thank you so much. Please go ahead and subscribe, like the video. Let's make this a long-term relationship and come back for a couple more videos, all right? Talk to y'all later. Bye.